this one too. Okay, there we go. All right. Kade, hello again.
Hey, so yeah, so I listened to Janine Roth. She had a question and answer session on my
Oh,
online course,
so good. Oh, on your question.
and
Sorry.
somebody asked the question about said, "Oh, I do really well with intuitive eating for 3, 4, 5, however many days, and then I fall face first into a binge." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's because usually I go about 2 weeks and then I have binge problem or whatever still."
Hmm.
I think maybe it's that unconditional permission thing. I still
Right.
think I'm thinking like a lot of those thoughts about, bargaining with myself and a lot of those
Right.
diet thoughts. And I don't really know how to really give myself really unconditional. It's just really hard. I'm trying, but it's
Right.
like,
Well, it
yeah.
is hard because it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to really believe it. I feel like um, one of the things that maybe will help you recognize if it is unconditional or not is if you really kind of listen to the language you're using in your head. So I know for me, like I used to hear a lot of shoulds and you really should eat something besides frozen yogurt today, or you really need to eat this or eat that. Like if I still heard those kind of thoughts popping into my head, I kind of knew I wasn't totally there yet. But another thing that what you're saying makes me think of is that book Brain Over Binge, which I'm pretty sure you've
Yeah.
read. Um, and to be honest, I just feel like maybe you're really close to giving unconditional permission, maybe even you are, but binging is a really strong habit, and it's crazy how much it has a hold on us. And if you're doing it, I know that I did it like every 10 days. Every 10 days I would binge, even after I stopped dieting. And I just knew that it was just a habit, and it's just the most simple thing that I had heard, and that's really frustrating but true, is that the only way to stop a habit is stop doing the thing. And
Yeah.
the more times that you stop doing it, the sooner it'll go away, or eventually it will go away. But I mean, the fact that if it's every 2 weeks, that's still pretty amazing. I know that it sucks when it happens, but it's better than every day or every other day or every week. I mean, and I feel like it means you're getting closer. I don't know if it does feels like that to you, but um, I don't know.
Well, it kind of feels like maybe I'm like chipping away at that wall, and like, because she talked about how, because I have a pretty strong aggressive voice that's in my head.
Yeah,
And, she talked about that, that voice that it realizes that you're trying to change and it doesn't want you to change.
hates
So
change. Yep.
like I feel like I'm just about there, and then I fall back, and I'm just about there, and it's like I just
Right.
feel I keep going. I'm just gonna knock through that wall one of these days.
Yeah, and you will. You will, I promise. And you're right. Our minds kind of hate change, and it's resisting it. And I was gonna say something about that. Oh, I totally lost it. I lost it. But yeah, you're right. And but one day you will get past that, and it's gonna feel amazing. And you know, I think it's kind of frustrating because in the Janine Roth book, and if you guys have read it, maybe this has set you up for frustration too. But, or no, not the Janine Roth book. I'm sorry, the Brain Over Binge book. She just kind of stopped binging one day and just like never binges again, which is awesome for her, and it's great. And I do think that a lot of things that she says are true, but it kind of sets you up to feel like that you're not doing it right, or that you're not getting over it fast enough. But we're all different, and the fact of the matter is, I mean, if they're getting farther apart or they're happening less often, that's a great sign. And 4 months is nothing in the grand scheme of things compared to how long the diet mentality has been there. And I know it's so frustrating, and it just like a broken record. I feel like I say this all the time, but time is like the number one thing that we need.
I know. I just keep thinking,
So.
well, the past 30 years, what I've been doing hasn't worked. So,
Right.
and the time's going to go by. I mean, the next year is going to go by regardless of what I do. So I might as
Regardless.
well do
And if
this.
and if you go back and you did that if you did dieting for the next year, you would only set your self back even farther, and that would suck even worse. So it's definitely not worth it. And I know it's not worth it. So that's really good. So the fact that first of all, Kathy, the fact that you know that you'll never go back to dieting already sets you so far ahead because, I mean, you have done the reject the diet mentality, whereas a lot of people still are struggling to get past that part. And that really holds you back for a long time. So that's awesome, you know.
But I still have a lot of those diet mentality thoughts, though, because I tracked my food and thought about every meal and every calorie for so long that and healthy eating, and it's so hard to like get past all that in my head.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that those thoughts aren't gone. They're still in my head sometimes too. But the refusal to let them win, I guess, is the thing that's really great. I see Brittany raising her hand, so I'm going to mute you real quick, Kathy, and go over to Brittany here. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Brittany.
Hello. So my questions were actually answered in the video that we did earlier, but I kind of wanted to respond to Kathy. You know, I know she's going through a lot of things that we are. There was actually a couple of posts just this week. It seems like everyone is having an issue with accepting these foods at the same time. I think I had an issue with the donuts. Someone else had, you know, other issues, and you know, we're wondering, you know, can we really do this when we're binging these foods? And I think it's something that it'll be one of two extremes. We'll either like really get through it and be like, okay, you know, we are not going to have a problem with this food anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, I ate my donuts. I've gotten past the donuts, and the donuts, they're nothing anymore. Or it's really subtle. Like, I got some Valentine's on sale candy. Got boxes of chocolates the day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to throw them away this afternoon. Because I don't want them anymore. And who doesn't love Valentine's Day candy?
Hey, you can send them to me instead. I'm just kidding. But no, but really. No, go ahead. You're right, though.
I mean, it's one of those things where even just a couple months ago, I would have eaten every single chocolate in that box.
Right.
All three of them in like a week.
Uh-huh.
And it's been, a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks, something like that. And I'm like, I'm just going to throw these away. And it didn't really click until about halfway through the presentation today, where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want them. So, you know, to Kathy, it is really hard, and, you know, those thoughts do creep back into our heads. But you're going to get through it, even if you don't realize at that time that you're going to get through it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm just binging on these foods.
Right.
But when it does click, it's going to be such a wonderful thought.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it totally worthwhile.
Right.
Even in the beginning, you're like, you do have the thoughts of all I'm going to do is I'm just going to binge on. I'm just going to eat it all the time. But you do get past it, and it does feel really great, Kathy.
It does. And, oh my gosh, I am such a blank spacer tonight. I had something to say to that, but, yeah, you will get past it. Oh, that's what it was. The whole step-by-step process of making the list and going through and doing that, I've done that a few times now. Like, if you feel like maybe you need to go back and do that, there's nothing wrong with, you know, doing some review, you know, just trying it again and seeing kind of what the process feels like doing it over again. Because sometimes we need to brush up, you know. Kelsey, so I would love to kind of hear your thoughts, because I know this is kind of all new to you. And Tana, I see that you have a quick question. So Kelsey, I'm going to give you a second to think about it and let me know if you'd feel comfortable talking, and I'm going to unmute Tana here. So bye, Brittany, for now. All right. Tana?
Hello.
Hi. What's your question?
Okay. Hi, everybody. So it's not really a question, but it's more, well, I guess it is a question for those of you who've been doing this longer. So I've been finding lately that, you know, I had the question about, you know, I don't know what I want to eat. And then, you know, just to continue that, I'm finding that many of the things, and this is probably the process, but things that I'm shocked by that I ate for, you know, a few days that I never would eat. Let's say hot dogs, for one thing, like good hot dogs, not fat free. These are full fat, delicious, wonderful, fabulous hot dogs. I now they're like, I don't even want to look at them in my refrigerator. And so I'm struggling with what to eat.
Oh, okay.
Nothing is So like, I don't know what to do. And I think all day, like, what can I cook? And, I think about all the chicken breasts. For about a year, I ate nothing but like chicken breasts and broccoli. That was, and
I'm so
vegetables.
sorry.
So for lunch, it was like veggie soup that I made. And then for dinner, chicken breast and broccoli. And that was like literally for a year. And I cannot even think of those foods right now.
Right.
But I just don't know what to do, like where to go. I guess I need to try new recipes or just go walk through the store.
Right. That's actually, I don't know if you saw my post I did tonight on Facebook about meal prepping. But I have found like a joy of cooking again because Pinterest for sure. That's where I got all my recipes from today. But it's a really good idea. Like I try and cook a really large variety of foods, which takes more time. I mean, really it took me 3 hours tonight to cook 4 different types of foods. And then I try and cook foods that I can freeze because when we're going through this process, we can be like more picky and more open-minded than we were before. So we're gonna change our like mind all the time and be like, we jump from food to food. And so I try and make things that I can freeze. So that way, when I'm like over a food, I can come back to it later without being wasteful. But it's a good thing. I know that it's frustrating because you go buy something and then you're like, man, I don't want that anymore. But yeah, the whole going to the grocery store, Janine Roth actually talks about a practice that she recommends to people where you just go to the grocery store with absolutely no intention of buying anything. You actually just go to because when you have an intention to buy something, it can be more distracting. But just go to just explore, like just walk up and down the aisles, like just kind of see what foods like call your name and just kind of get a feel for what's there and just kind of be open-minded and go look at all the food with the belief that you can buy any of it, but that you're just there to kind of do some research, like what all looks good.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but you do look at it differently when you're not going there to buy for sure. And of course, when you're not going there just to get chicken and broccoli. But I just Pinterest and just go on there and just scroll food. Like honestly, like you'll see things that you wouldn't have thought of before. And it's so exciting too, because you're like, oh my gosh, I can go make this, I can make that. But yeah, I would say freezer stuff, explore the grocery store, and Pinterest are great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, hope that helped. Yeah, thanks for the Pinterest times too. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna mute you real quick. All right, Kelsey, you can chat me if you're able to, but I mean, if you don't have any questions, that's fine. I would just love to hear kind of what your thoughts are, but I'm sure you probably do have a question because if this is your first contact with it. I'll give you a second to think about that. Ooh, allrecipes.com has a meal plan. Oh yeah, it's fun. Yeah, if you go to allrecipes.com, you can do a spinner. Yeah, that's really fun. No, I'm going to unmute you, Kelsey, if that's okay with you. So hold on. Let me unmute you real quick. Hey, Kelsey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're a little quiet, but I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I am still kind of feeling awfully blank about all the information, but I feel like I've done, as my fiance brings me dark chocolate. I feel like I've done so much research on like eliminating processed foods and eliminating sugar and trying to find out, like trying to be more in tune with what my body wants. Right. And to hear you say like, go eat frozen yogurt, like go eat candy, like how is that going to be healthy for me?
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to go eat those things. The whole idea is that you figure out what your body wants. Your body doesn't want what my body wants. We're not the same. But what I will say about, we do have a trend going on of clean eating and unprocessed foods and, gluten-free and avoiding sugar. And I call them trends because they really are. I mean, yes, they are somewhat scientifically backed, but this whole idea of sugar addiction, I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have told you I was addicted to sugar. But now that I've stopped restricting it and stopped dieting, I, eat a piece of dark chocolate a day, and that's usually about it, except for on certain days. And the whole idea of clean eating, when it comes to intuitive eating, we were talking about eventually your body will want a more balanced diet. Eventually it's not going to want all play foods. It's going to want more nutritious foods, because if you're really listening to your body, that's what's going to make it feel better. So eventually, you probably will be eating quote unquote more clean foods. But the point is to go through this process so you get there naturally. When we do all this research and start doing these things because people tell us to, that still sets up a restriction mindset and still sets us up to overeat those exact foods we're trying to avoid later. But if we get there naturally, by kind of working through our food issues and working through, oh my gosh, I've not been allowing myself these things for so long. And if we work through that, eventually we'll get to a point where you're doing those things that you're talking about because you want to, and because you're listening to your body rather than listening to what people are telling you to do. If that makes sense. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling to think, like, yes, it would be okay to go and get like a frozen meal from Walmart and eat that and for that to be okay.
Well, and here's the thing, is like a frozen meal from Walmart. Okay, so let's say that's what you're when you're doing it in the beginning, you don't really know what your body wants because you haven't been listening to your body. When we're dieting, we're not really listening to our body so much. We're just following whatever we're supposed to be doing, whatever. So when you actually start in the very beginning, you're not going to know what your body wants. So you're going to have to do some experimenting. So let's say you go experiment with the frozen meal at Walmart, and you're checking in with yourself after. How long do you think, you probably know, how long do you think that that's going to keep you full? How much energy do you think that's going to give you? So while it might taste good, and I don't know which frozen meals might taste good, but let's say it tastes good, the important thing, like we were talking about, is does your body want it? And I think maybe you'll want it. Maybe you won't notice that it doesn't feel good at first because it takes practice to really listen to your body. But yeah, all that really highly processed stuff is hard for our body to not only digest, but to recognize. So while it might not bother us in the beginning, once we get better at really, really listening, which, like Kathy was mentioning, is hard, those foods are going to become less and less common. But it's important not to kind of rush that process because we want to get there, or we think we should get there, because it won't last. And what will last is getting there naturally, but not forcing ourselves because we think we should.
I think a lot of it, and people, it's a human drive, is to not be comfortable with the ambiguity.
I'm sorry, it's not become what with ambiguity?
It's people aren't comfortable with the ambiguity.
Oh yeah, I know. That's we were talking about that today, and actually I don't think you're in it, but the intuitive eating support group that you're totally welcome to join. If you're not, I don't think you are. Are you in that?
No, I'm not.
We were talking about that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, but I would like to.
Okay, cool. But we were talking about today the ambiguity. When you're on a diet, we feel like we have all this control because there is no ambiguity. Like, what you should be, or what you're planning to eat, how many calories you're supposed to have, whatever. And so there is no, it's like black and white. You do it and this is how it needs to be done. But with this, it's like your world is open. Like, it's completely, it's the opposite of a diet. And so it is kind of, it's scary because it is uncomfortable and it is different. But change usually is uncomfortable. But it leads to something that feels a whole lot better than constantly trying to keep up with the latest diet trend, constantly forcing ourselves to eat what we think we're supposed to be eating, constantly battling food, which isn't very comfortable either most days. So, but yeah. Do you have any other questions that you can think of, or do you feel like did you say you ordered Women, Food, and God? Was that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be here any day now.
Okay. I know Kathy's read it, and Tana, I feel like maybe you have it. Yes, yeah, Tana's reading it too. Brittany, I really recommend it. I don't remember if you're reading it, but I also recommend, Kelsey, once you're done with that one, I really love that one, but Breaking Free from Compulsive or Emotional Eating is really good. And then the actual intuitive eating book itself is just called Intuitive Eating 3rd edition. it may make this not seem so crazy.
Okay.
I know it seems crazy. Had I heard about it before I read about it, I feel like it would have been a lot harder. But I read the book first, so that might help. But
Okay.
you share?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for talking. Sorry I put you
No
on the
problem.
spot. Okay, I'll mute you again. Bye.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting close to that 10 o'clock mark. So does anyone have any last minute comments or questions or epiphanies or, oh my gosh, I just realized this or anything? If not, I'll close it out here. Okay, I'm gonna unmute all of you because I want to say bye. Okay, can you all talk now?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, well, as long as you girls have any other questions, then we'll end this here. Do you feel like I say so goddamn much. I'm sorry. Do you feel like this helped at all?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Good. You would think being a teacher I wouldn't say as much, but I do. So, okay, great. Any suggestions or oh my gosh. I was trying to think of a synonym for suggestions. Any ideas for the next topic? Since you guys are pretty good at always being on, I feel like you should have a say in maybe the next thing we talk about. Do you have anything that might help to talk about next time? And hunger.
Are we going in order of the steps?
No, I started going out of order because I skipped. What did I skip? Well, so we did introduction, and then we did honor your hunger. Well, maybe I am going in order, but I'm not meaning to. So yeah, it doesn't need to be in order.
I mean, I think with all the talk that we've had on the intuitive eating support group, and
Yeah.
again, who aren't on there, highly recommend it. A lot of people right now are having issues with, the weight loss that was mentioned earlier today. So maybe continuing to go in order. I think the next one is like the diet police one.
Wait, a what?
I think the next principle is the diet police.
Yes, the food police.
Yeah. So I think maybe we should just go ahead and do that one because a lot of people are having issues with those thoughts creeping back into their heads.
Okay.
Go over that together, maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad that you scared me a little at first. I was about to hide under my hat because I don't think I could do. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to do a weight one yet, but I do think that the food police one would be great because we're all struggling with those negative thoughts. So figuring out ways to overcome that, I think, would be a great one. Any other ideas?
Sounds
You
good.
feel good with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, girls, so much because you three are awesome because you always show up and you make sure that I actually have people to talk to. I really appreciate it. So I hope this helped a little bit, and I'll be in touch on Facebook as always.
Thank you all so much.
All right. Bye, girls. Have a good night.
Bye.
Sleep tight.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.